trying to bring him back. The second question, we got the franchise tag deadline looming in the next week. No. What are the plans on potentially using that on Orlando Brown?
Yeah, I would say, well, first off with Orlando, I'm sure that's likely. We're going to work hard to get a deal done with him and Herbie. After the Cincinnati game, we had a chance to talk. We communicated that we certainly love Tyron, and Tyron loves being here. This is actually the start of that process now. So once the season ends, kind of the coaches do their deal, and we sit back and we collect all the information we get with the coaches after they go through their scheme evaluations. And we know that once Indy rolls around, that we'll have a chance to, obviously on one end, see all the great college prospects, but on the other end, have an opportunity to talk with our players' agents and exchange information. So we'll start that process this week, and hopefully everything ends in a positive direction. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal situation, I mean that's the goal and that's the intent. Typically, the larger the deals, the longer they take, and we've been through that with Pat and with Chris and what have you. So, on one end, we're going to work to see if we can get things executed as efficiently as possible, but we also know that it might take some time, and we feel confident though by the start of the season we'll be in a good place there. Yeah, typically all the players on our roster, if their agents are here, we always make it a point to grab a dinner or just catch them in between workouts and what have you. But again, that goes with all the players on our roster from 1 down to 53. It's always good to keep those communications and the dialogue open, so we'll certainly do that with Tyron and his people. Yeah, I mean, those are, you have a lot of positives in this job, and you get to do a lot of great things, but I mean, going through something like that is really difficult, and it's even more difficult when you talk about the caliber of person Anthony Hitchens is. I mean, he's just, I have told him many times, I mean, he's, when you look up the textbook definition of what a pro means, it's Anthony Hitchens. He does everything the right way. First in, last out type of guy, smart leader, really cares about the profession, and I'm sure he'll play a few more years in this league. He's a valuable addition to any locker room, and who knows? I mean, and we talked about this on our last conversation. Strange things happen, and maybe he ends up back in KC. It was a difficult decision, but can't say enough about him and his family. Just tremendous people. You know how this league works. I mean, he'll certainly go out there, and I'm sure he'll have some suitors, and he brings a lot to the table, especially for a young linebacking core. I mean, the work he did with Willie Gay and Nick Bolton last year, I think you can ask both those guys. They'd be the first ones to tell you that they developed into the players they were at the end of the season because of Anthony, and I think that'll be attractive to a lot of teams with some younger linebackers. If that doesn't work out, though, I mean, every team needs to fill out depth in their on their roster, and it's a long season, so I mean, you never know. These things have a bunch of different ways they could turn out. Well, I mean, I think it's all opportunity dependent. I think that we've shown over the years that if there's a player or a talent that we really like and we think that there's no alternative match, we'll look to do that. Really like this draft. I think it's a deep draft, and now we come in with a 1, a 2, and 2 3s. So I think we'll have some versatility, but there's certainly value in the depth of the draft and accumulating as much talent as we can. Well, I mean, he's well versed. I mean, he's done a lot in his career in regards to both scouting on the college and pro side, and with that, he's a tremendous communicator. Understands the inner workings of a personnel department and a coaching staff, and I think one of the things that separates potentially our organization from others is just the level of trust and the level of communication that we have. That certainly has to do with the relationship that Coach and I had, but Ryan had a first-hand seat to that. He knows how important that level of trust and communication is, and I think he'll do a great job because he's one of those guys that he's confident in his opinions, but he's also doesn't have the ego in which he's not going to listen and take in information, so I think he'll do a tremendous job.
I don't know. You're still working And I know I'm getting a lot of questions about.
It's the late night phone calls, right? I mean, you love to evaluate talent and you love to put a roster together, but it's like all the stories you hear. Whether you were to ask a head coach that or a GM that, it's a lot more than just watching tape, putting a roster together, or trying to work with your cap guys on the salary. And there's a lot of stress off the field. Players go through a lot. Their families go through a lot. Our families go through a lot. So I think it's one thing to, in your mind, think, all right, well that'll come up and we'll deal with it. But it's intense and it pulls you away a lot of time from the office. So you have to have a great staff. And to your point, Ryan was a part of that staff that helps take some of the burdens off you. But I think it's the thing that is most challenging for a GM is all the things they don't expect, and sometimes the things that you're not thinking about are things that occupy most of your time. Yeah, well, I mean, last year we were in a unique situation where we had a 14-2 season and we made it to the Super Bowl, and by the time we got there, we were kind of depleted. We had a little bit of an older offensive line. We had one tackle retire and one tackle have an injury, a season ender. So looking at the way the draft flows and then picking 31, you don't have a lot of options. We came out of the gate and we signed Joe Tooney, and we were monitoring some other of the tackles in their markets, and I thought we did a good job being aggressive on one end, but also being patient and letting a trade come to us, and we're certainly pleased with the way it worked out, and then we were able to add more additional young linemen throughout the course of that offseason. So, but yeah, what was the second part of your question?
I think that's one of the misnomers that, like, you could have a good relationship.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think it's certainly market directed and what's available and what's realistic. And like I said, we had some other opportunities to do things, and we didn't think it was in our interest to either commit that type of draft resources or money, depending on what was out there at the time. But I know that it was reported that we certainly got involved a little with Trent Williams. That didn't work out, and there were some other players before Orlando, but we didn't feel like it was the right move, so we just stayed patient. And then when the Baltimore situation presented itself, we went through all those factors again. So it's just a case by case, and you just kind of go through the exercise and just make the best decision that you think is for the organization.
Last question, last one.
I don't ever worry about what we gave up or what we made.
He's a really good player, and talk about what he's accomplished over the last 4 years, and acquiring him via trade from Dallas, and then early on, right off the bat, he showed how talented he was on special teams, and then year by year he got better and better and better, and he's certainly a guy that, just like Tyron and some more of these players, we're going to have dialogue with them. Love to have Charvarius back. I think he's a talented player. He's done well in our scheme. Coaches like him. I like him, and it's one of those things that you have to work through in free agency when you have a talented roster, and try to get as many of these guys as you can and keep these guys under contract. But he'll be a guy that we'll certainly look forward to spending a lot of time with here in the next few weeks. Well, I mean, Byron's another guy like War that over the years he's developed into a really good football player, and both on special teams and in our wide receiver sets, and he's another guy. I think it's a good thing because we have a lot of these guys and that are good players, so it's a good problem to have. But again, just like Charvarius and a number of these other players, we're not going to lose sight of these guys, and look forward to getting with them and their agents this week, and hopefully try to retain as many of these players as we can.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
take it from there. Well, we've done okay for the last few years. So, and we're always striving to do better. But that's kind of where we're at. I think where Pat is in his career, I think it's important to, that it worked out that way. And I've got guys on staff that could step in that could also do it. So, but we always come up with new ideas. So it's not like we're short on ideas. Yeah, this is great. I mean, we went out to grab a bite to eat last night and didn't have to wear a mask. And, there were people in the restaurant. And it was tremendous. So I'm glad we're kind of getting back into that norm. Yeah, I think it's great competition. I thought the teams were getting better as the year went on, but again, they made changes, and I'm glad that it looks like they brought in good coaches. So I think it'll be tremendous. That's why we're in this thing. So we love the competition, and so I look forward to it. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, that always comes up. I try to look at whether he can throw the ball or not, and Patrick did a pretty good job of it, and so I didn't really worry too much about all of that. But I imagine that can if it's too small, I guess that could be an issue. But I think there have been some pretty good quarterbacks that have had smaller hands.
Coach, what do you make about what you thought about Slide Edmonds' years, development starters, what about Jared McKinnon next year? What do you think about him last year?
Yeah, so both of them had good years when they were able to play. Both of them were injured and for part of the season. So I think it's important that they're able to stay healthy and push themselves through the season. I think that'll be important for both of them. But both great kids and both they're just got so much talent. It's crazy. Yeah.
Coach, along the health front, how many of the players have type of maintenance surgery?
Yeah, I don't have that for you right now, Herbie. I'll get it to you, but I don't have that.
Coach, you've had a couple of matchups against
Yeah, he's a heck of a football coach. Great offensive mind, very organized. So I look forward to the challenge there of playing against his team. I'm a 50-50 shooter, so listen, that's about what it is in the league right now. And I've gone the opposite way. When we played the Patriots and lost in overtime, you feel like you need a shot at it, and so, but the defensive guys say, well, we should stop them. So that's the other part of it. But when you look at it, it's 50-50 across the board, really, whether you win or lose. Yeah, listen, I'm for whatever the league decides to do. I kind of left it open this year. Again, because of where we sat, we had an opportunity, didn't take advantage of it. Another one we did take advantage of. So I think it's somewhere it's not going to be perfect no matter what. There's just no perfect remedy to this thing. That's how it is. When there's a tie, you gotta try to work it out the best you can within a certain amount of time, and you build in the TV part of it and the things that go on with your rights in that. So. Yeah, so I think McColl did a good job. He continuously got better throughout the year, worked hard, and it paid off for him. So we kind of found that groove as coaches. What were the things that he did best and try to utilize them in those positions. Yeah, I like Pringle. He's a free agent right now, but I sure like him. He did a great job. Yeah. got a potato chip contract. I mean, it was great. It worked out perfect for him. Yeah, Herbie, I mean, I can't give all that away, but I mean, there are a few of them. Veach is on top of all that and does a great job with it. But we'll have some holes that that you need to fill, but you have to be careful of that you start forcing issues and then maybe you get a lesser player than you possibly could at a position that's already of need, or not of need. So you got to be real careful on how you handle that. Yeah, so we've started our scheme eval. We're a week into it, and it's. I mean, it's always productive. Go back and look at it. I thought we did a good job, better job as we move forward with it. So, will it be a big part? Well, it's going to be a big part because we're evaluating ourselves, and that's what how teams are playing us. So, but I thought we got better with it. You're saying Brendan? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be similar, although you get better every year that you're doing it, more comfortable. So I think he'll do a great job with it. He's relentless, and that part hasn't changed. He's amped up every day and ready to go. Yeah, I think that's a positive, and you fit it into what the needs are of the defense and the offense, special teams. You got to have a core group that you've got to put together there, and you've got to blend those special teams guys with the offense and the defense. So, I think that's important. Yeah, listen, I mean, I think that's true. You try to hire the best people that you possibly can and that help you win football games. And if you can keep yourself focused on that, and which I think people do a decent job of, but somehow the diversity part's kind of got thrown to the side. So whatever takes place there, that's how we try to operate with it. Yeah. Say that again, Jeff? I'm not sure. I'm out of Philly now, so I'm resident. I haven't set a timetable. I haven't set it. I appreciate you asking though. No, he hasn't done that. I mean, his role increased as the season went on, so he did a real nice job for us. And we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, there's so much that goes into that with all our guys that are free. You've got to sit here with this cap and work that out, and then look at the future and what you've got available there too. So you juggle all these different balls, and hopefully it comes out the way you want it. So. Yep. Yeah, no, that was great. It was a great honor to do that. Tremendous person. I think that we all know, and the change that he's put together within the game, I think, for coaches and players has been tremendous too. Yeah, so we love Tyron. So it's a matter of how that all fits in, and again, that's Brett has to juggle all that and see where it goes as we go in the future here. So, but it's we all love him. So I think that's important. Yeah. Yeah, so that right tackle spot. We'll figure out. Andy Heck does a good job of moving people around and allowing them to work in different spots. We'll try to work, the 5 best guys in as we go, and we'll see how that goes.
Hey, we'll do a couple more, guys.
We'll be talking about agents here, or I think Rob was just one of those times to think about his future.
Yeah, so we try to work around those guys and find out what their strengths are and try to utilize their strengths the best we possibly can. And having a mix of guys that can do different things, I think, is great. Yeah.
He's one of those players I mentioned. I didn't want to mention him by name.
For what position? Just any of them? Yeah, I mean, I like watching all. I sit up there and, eat potato chips and watch them all. So I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah, so over the years, the coaches have got involved with that and then helped the combine committee put together these drills. And so they're more, the best you can in shorts. They're more direct towards that position. And when you can't go one-on-one or and you're in shorts and that whole deal, it's the best you can do. So. All right. Thanks. All right. Thank you, guys.